Several other Magic Valley colleges had already disappeared well before CSI began, including the Southern Idaho College in Buell, with its downtown dorms and night classes at the old Lincoln Elementary. When it became apparent that the new College of Southern Idaho would be built in Twin Falls, Buell's visionary leaders, including John Hepworth, James Shields, John Barker, Chuck Lehrman, and others, supported and became namesakes of CSI. In 1965, CSI was a reality, but the campus was still several years in the future. The county hospital leased space in its old nursing annex for board meetings. A downtown office complex became the temporary business office. The old D&W building on Kimberly Road became our first vocational building. And the new Twin Falls High School is where we held our first classes and graduation. No fewer than 8 locations were considered for the CSI campus. The early favorite was right here, where the Twin Falls LDS Temple stands. Another possibility was here north of the Snake River Canyon, especially since Jerome County had just become a part of the new Junior College District. But it was the Kimes property, still well north of the city of Twin Falls, where ground would soon be turned for a new and lasting home for CSI. Little wonder that one of the first projects on the campus was the Fine Arts Building. The Civic Auditorium Association handed CSI most of its money. Magic Valley dilettantes were also thrilled and anxious to have a new home on the Fine Arts Auditorium stage. From its beginnings to what it has become today, CSI's Fine Arts Building has been a hub of community culture, music, and theater education for all of southern Idaho. A 1967 Times News article called the 107-foot CSI Tower a beacon to education. In one old blueprint, it was called the Centrum, though no one has ever called it that. Repairs in '98 trimmed it down, making it safer in Idaho's high winds. In 2007, communications lines that had been beneath the tower were moved above ground. Nearly 50 years later, the CSI Tower remains a beacon to education. Sometimes we talk about getting the 1,000-foot view of something. The College of Southern Idaho has quite a few of those, going back to our beginnings, when one by one, the maintenance, Shields, and Fine Arts buildings, and of course, the tower were added. Fast forward a few more years, and a few more, and you start to wonder, what will the CSI campus look like in another 50 years? By the time the gymnasium was completed in 1970, the CSI Golden Eagles had already been playing for 4 years at Twin Falls High School. In coming years, talented coaches and players earned 19 national and 85 regional championships in men's and women's basketball, volleyball, rodeo, baseball, softball, and track. Doc Taylor dreamed of an athletic powerhouse. His dream lives today. Norman Harret's jewelry store, museum, and planetarium were right next door to one of CSI's early locations on Kimberly Road. Thanks to his generous donation, the Harret Center was established at CSI in 1980. What was originally a museum and art gallery has grown to include the Faulkner Planetarium, additional galleries, a community room, and the Centennial Observatory. Mr. Harret would be proud of his living legacy. Tireless, persistent, visionary. Men of great people skills whose doors have always been open. Energetic, always thinking years into the future. Finding their way through good and bad times, continuing the legacy. These are the presidents upon whose guidance CSI looms large, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Jim Gentry looks back on his 45 years at CSI in his new book.
CSI was only 4 years old when I came. So CSI began in '65 and I came in '69. CSI's history and my history are kind of interrelated. As I've looked at CSI historically, it's also forced me to look at myself historically, maybe in ways that I would not have.